can't be emotional, so be emotional. You can't take credit. You can't speak up. You can't be so ambitious. You can't break records. You can't have any fun. You can't make demands. You can't keep score. You can't stand out. Whatever you do, you can't win.
Basketball player, we found a way to connect outside of the work that we do. You know how much I love sports, and my brain is full of a lot of facts and figures and basically an encyclopedia of women's sports. And I sincerely believe that playing sports growing up has put me on the trajectory of success. It also made me a women's sports activist because I lived the inequality. I saw it all the time. In high school, my high school soccer team was very good. We were ranked 22nd in the nation, and my senior year, there were 11 girls that were signed to play Division I soccer. And even though I grew up in a privileged high school, we had to wear the same uniform as the boys. So the boys would wear the uniforms in the fall, and we would wear them in the spring. And I remember my best guy friend at the time coming up to me and saying, I feel so bad that you have to wear our uniforms because boys are disgusting. And also, not to mention, they were fit to fit the boys. So if I had $1 for every time someone said, you throw like a girl, girls are too weak, they're girly girls, it's a man's game, and they're too weak, fragile, short, and they might break a nail, I'd have enough money to buy a cabin in Heber and spend my summers there. Let's just say I've spent a lot of time screaming about the lack of support and respect in girls' sports. Since the passage of Title IX, there has been more than a 1,000% increase in girls' involvement in sports. But despite the growth attributed to Title IX, boys participating in sports at the high school level still exceed girls by more than 1 million. And girls only make up 42% of all high school players. Additionally, 92.7% of universities and colleges aren't compliant with Title IX, and women miss out on more than 1.1 billion in athletic scholarships annually. Nationwide, on the high school level, we would need 539,000 more female student athletes for equity for Title IX. But I'm not going to bore you with the details of the Title IX compliance in sports. But unfortunately, there's also in the state of Utah high schools that are not compliant. Cedar City High School would need to add 54 female athletes for equity, Cypress 69, Delta 92, Wasatch 37, East High School 51, Timpview 103, Skyline 77, Kern 71, Morgan 15, Logan 97, and on and on. But I will say, props to Gunnison, Richfield, Manti, North and South Summit, Panguitch, Rich, Uinta, and Canyon View High School for all passing the parity test. And maybe you're thinking, what does it matter? Maybe they can't find enough girls to play sports. And that might be true, but it does matter because sports can make a huge impact on a young girl's life. In fact, supporting girls in sport directly ties to our portrait of a graduate and our mission and vision of academic excellence. Let me give you some data to prove it. By a 3-to-1 ratio, female athletes do better in school, do not drop out, and have a better chance of getting through college. Young women who play sports are more likely to graduate from high school, have higher grades, and score higher on standardized tests than non-athletes. And this pattern of greater academic achievement is consistent across community income levels. Female athletes are more likely to do well in science classes than their classmates who do not play sports. Female athletes of color consistently benefit from increased academic success. One study showed that female Hispanic athletes were more likely than non-athletes to improve their academic standing, graduate from high school, and attend college. Sports participation has been consistently shown to support all aspects of academic achievement, including positive academic self-concepts, a positive attitude towards schoolwork, improved academic performance, and higher education aspirations and attainment. So, what about their future, the success sequence, remember Earl, and contributing to the workforce? Well, one study showed that being a high school athlete was associated with a 14% higher wages for women, even when controlling for other factors. High school athletes are less likely to smoke cigarettes or use drugs than their non-athletic peers, and one study showed that female athletes were 29% less likely to smoke than non-athletes. Adolescent female athletes have lower rates of both sexual activity and pregnancy. In fact, female athletes are less than half as likely to become pregnant than their non-athletic peers. And this was true for white, African American, and Latina female athletes. And my favorite fact of all time is that over 90% of female executives of Fortune 500 companies have been athletes, and women who play sports are shown to earn 8% more than those that do not. Because girls who play sports gain higher levels of self-esteem and lower levels of depression to critical workplace skills such as teamwork, goal setting, and the pursuit of excellence. Girls who play sports report better health, body image, popularity, and overall higher quality of life compared to girls that don't play sports. So, if we know all of these benefits and we know about the discrepancies and lack of support for girls in sports, what can we do? Good news, I have some ideas. My quote is, if you can see it, you can be it. We need to increase exposure and opportunities for girls. We need to equally promote all of our sports at our school. We can be an example in our classroom by showing up for games. If you have a poster of LeBron up in your classroom, why not put one up of Asia Wilson or Serena Williams? Let's give our kids exposure to role models. And by the way, this also helps adjust bias and sexism that many young boys grow up having, and we can be example to shift this mindset. And rather than watching some random cornhole tournament that happens to be on ESPN that day, why not find a women's sports game to turn on instead? There's so much evidence that shows that now that women's sports and athletes are getting more exposure, not only are they breaking viewing ratings, they are unbelievably profitable. All of this time, we thought that people just didn't want to watch girls' sports because it wasn't good, but really they were just battling to be seen. And now that they have the exposure, it is absolutely blowing up. Here's a fun fact. The tickets to the Salt Lake Love volleyball games, the Women's Professional League in Salt Lake City, their tickets are currently going for more than lower bowl jazz tickets. When third grade teachers at New Road School in Santa Monica, California heard their students say, "You throw like a girl," they presented their class with a short documentary on Monet Davis. Davis was the first female pitcher to earn a win and pitch a shutout in the Little League World Series in 2014. With a 70-mile-per-hour fastball and a curve that froze batters in their cleats, her team's victory over Nashville, she pitched 6 innings and struck out 8 boys. She made the cover of Sports Illustrated and inspired young girls to go beyond the rigid boundaries of gender-appropriate sports. Students from the school wrote Monet about her impact. One student said, "Dear Monet, I saw your video. I thought it was so cool because it gave me the feeling that I can do anything I put my mind to." Let's see more of that. We can also look at our facilities and if there are different playing conditions. If the softball field doesn't have lights, but the baseball field does, that changes scheduling, the ability to finish games, and more. Or are some of our women's fields off-site and the boys' facilities are on-site? We need to look at those ways to provide equipment for girls who can't afford cleats, a racket, or a lacrosse stick. It could be the gateway for a young girl to completely change their trajectory. We need to look at equal provision and maintenance of equipment and supplies, scheduling of games, practice time, equal travel, and per diem expenses, locker rooms, and medical training services and facilities, including publicity and recruiting. And ask, are we doing enough, or do we say, oh, that's just the girls' sports? As adults, parents, and teachers, we can look for ways to engage by attending games and talking to young girls about playing and watching sports. Megan Duggan, 3-time Olympic medalist with the U.S. women's hockey team, said, "Sports are a microcosm of our society at large. So if girls and women are denied opportunities in sports, they are inherently being denied opportunities elsewhere." I really love this call to action from the Women's Sports Foundation. We should continue celebrating and supporting organizations that are increasing access and opportunity and ensuring that girls not only try sport, but try to find confidence, joy, strength, and the sense of belonging that keeps them playing during their growing years and throughout their lifetimes. So, to show you this is true beyond my experience, I brought some coaches here today to give you a short example of how important girls playing sports really is. If I can have Gentry Johnson. She's the vice principal at Harriman High School, and Shaylee Nilsson. She is a teacher at Sky Ridge. Gentry here, she is known by her students as VPJ, And she is a remember Hart, you'll love this. She was a CTE teacher, and now she's an administrator, right? And she taught at Copper Hills and Mountain Ridge, and now she's at Harriman. She was a softball player at Southern Utah University, and she's coached softball and women's basketball. And then Shaylee is from Delta, Utah, and she teaches PE and health at Skyridge. She played she coached women's basketball at Mazer Prep Academy and played collegiately at Snow College and at Eastern Oregon University. And she's currently the head basketball coach at Skyridge. And then I have online Marianne Allen, whom some of you may know. Used to be on the Wasatch School Board. She has taught social studies and PE in Eden and coached women's and men's soccer. So I'm going to have them give you a little example of to drive in my point here about the importance of girls playing sports. You can press the button there, and when it turns red, yep, it's on.
Very good. Good morning, you guys. Thank you. Again, I'm Gentry Johnson, Vice Principal at Harriman High School. But prior to that, and forever always, I am an athlete. That is who I am. I played volleyball, basketball, and softball in high school and found a lot of success at Hillcrest High. And through all of that, I am who I am today because of the confidence that was instilled in me by playing and being supported at such high levels of sports. Teamwork, perseverance, grit, communication skills. Everything that I am today is because I was an athlete. I am an athlete, and I have felt the love and support by so many people above me. I actually am into education because of connections I made as a female athlete. I was sought out to become an educator. Hey, you would be great in a high school. Have you ever thought of coming back to education? And it's because of the connections that I made. I did coach softball at Copper Hills. We took a state championship, and I will tell you, the stands were hopping. And a lot of those girls kept looking up in the stands just thinking, I can do this. I can do this for my school, for my teammates. And when we won, the crowd erupted, and I have never seen a state championship game like that before. A couple of stories about my girls. I had one who, after she played for me, fell into some suicidal ideation. One day she surprised me in my classroom, brought me a green bag of lifesavers and a note, and just gave me a hug and said, hey, I wanted to bring this to you. She left, and as I read the note, tears just streamed down my face. She said, you are my literal lifesaver. I tried to take my life the other night, but you and your teachings in softball, and that we can do hard things and that we finish what we start, is why I am living today. You popped into my head. Not my mom, not my dad, and not my siblings. You did. Because what we endured together, I know I can persevere and do hard things. I also had another young lady who served an LDS mission and wrote me, this is the hardest thing I have ever done in my life. I've wanted to quit and come home so many times. But the love and support that I know you have and the community at large has behind me, I'm going to stick this out because I know I can. And so that is just a couple of experiences of being a coach and having a direct influence on young ladies. And now these ladies have gone on to now continue on the tradition of we rise above, we can do hard things, we stick it out, we finish what we start, is just a couple examples. And then one, as an administrator, you know, sometimes administrators fall into the disciplinarian role, right? We talk to a lot of students who are struggling and having a hard time. And we are trying to shift that narrative at Harriman High School and trying to expose young ladies to get involved. What are you excited about? What drives you? And one lady last year who was in trouble a lot, we got to know each other very well, had some substance issues on campus, and if she got one more, she was going to probably be removed from our school and not have a place at Harriman High School. This year, she found women's wrestling. And it was just because she connected with the teacher, she connected with the coach, and he invited her. He said, I want you to come out and try this sport with us. And she did it. You guys, and all the kids that kind of fall into the troublemakers, the out-of-classers. Guess who's on the front row supporting their friend? She is making a difference. Women's sports are the game changer. And I am so grateful to have been here to share some of my stories with you today. Thank you for your work. Sarah, thank you for your invitation. And there you have it. Okay.
Right. That was amazing, Jenner. It's a lot to follow. I did have to write mine down because I'm really nervous. This isn't my normal thing. But I'm really, really grateful. I'm like emotional already. Jenner got me crying already. But anyway, let me get going before I cry too much. Thanks for letting me be here. Like Sarah said, I grew up in a small town. I'm from Delta. I had the chance to coach at Mazer Prep, so a really small charter school, which is very different than Skyridge. And I was at Riverton for a minute, and now I'm at Skyridge. Thank you to Mr. Perkins for giving me an opportunity. It was really fun to see a familiar face here. But yeah, so I'm going to, anyway, read my speech because then I won't ramble and cry, hopefully. Because of my background, I had a lot of broad and diverse experiences and perspective on the positive impacts of high school sports that they can have on girls. From small town kids to more academic minded kids who decided to give sports a try for the first time in high school, to kids who their entire lives surround around sports. But regardless of background, talent, or demographics, playing high school sports has countless benefits to young girls. For some, it might be their ticket out, the only way to get to college and accomplish dreams. For others, it might be the only reason they go to school and get good grades. For others, it can be a lifeline by giving them a sense of belonging and purpose, or it could be something as simple as a way to have fun and escape the stress of the world for a bit each day. I've seen all these benefits over the years and I love any chance I have to share why I'm passionate about women's sports. A recent study published by the Girls Index shared these statistics about girls who play high school sports. When compared to girls who do not play sports, female high school athletes are 14% more likely to believe they are smart enough for their dream career, 11% more likely to say they are happy the way they are, and 16% are less likely to want to change their appearance. Girls who play sports report higher levels of confidence at all ages, but in the 12th grade, athletes experience a substantial increase that is not observed in their peer group. Also, girls who play sports have higher opinions of their abilities and competencies, whereas 64% of those who don't play sports reported they are not good at math and science, and 69% say they are just not good at lots of things. This is compared to 36% and 31% respectively of those who do play sports. And lastly, girls who report the highest levels of sadness and depression are 27% less likely to be on a sports team. Now, these are just the numbers from a study that give you a brief look into the benefits of high school sports for females. The really amazing thing is I get to see the human side of these numbers every single day. Not only do I coach, but I also teach at Skyridge, as Sarah mentioned. I teach health and I teach girls fitness and girls weights. So every year I get to see hundreds of teenage girls. I get to see the challenges they face, their social lives, the way they carry themselves, their confidence. And it's amazing what being involved in high school sports do for these girls. One story I'd like to share is about a player I had on my team this year. She recently moved from Utah, moved to Utah, was having a really hard time finding friends, didn't want to go to school, and was just really struggling. So I reached out to her parents to share a little glimpse of what basketball has done for her, and this is what her mom said. Basketball has been more than just a sport for Ava. It has been a source of growth, confidence, and connection. When our family moved to Utah 3 years ago, Ava faced the challenge of starting over. New schools, new environments, and no familiar faces. During that time, her grandparents gifted her a basketball hoop, not knowing it would spark a passion that would shape her journey. While other kids were socializing after school and attending dances, Ava dedicated herself to the game. Spending hours shooting hoops in the backyard, her love for basketball grew so much that she courageously joined the boys' middle school team, one of only 2 girls and the shortest on the roster. Despite the challenges, she worked tirelessly, setting a goal to make the women's sophomore basketball team at Skyridge, a goal she achieved through determination and perseverance. Basketball has given Ava more than just skills on the court. It's provided her with a sense of belonging, incredible mentors, and lifelong friendships. The program at Skyridge High School that she's a part of has helped her find her people and has made her excited to go to school. It has pushed her to learn more about herself, build her confidence, and strive to become the best version of herself. For Ava, basketball has been more than a game. It has been a journey of self-discovery and growth. It has loved her just as much as she has loved it, shaping her into a strong, resilient, passionate young woman. Just to close, this is just one of hundreds of stories I could share. I wish I had all day to tell you stories of all the kids and all the ways it's changed their lives. But coaching is extremely difficult. It takes us away from our families. We're stressed 24/7. And you guys, as educators, you see it, you know how hard it is. But we get the chance to see these kids come in, like, not sure what they are capable of. They're really can be really shy. They are not quite sure if they can do hard things, if they can pass their classes, if they can get through whatever it is they're facing. But we get to see them overcome injury. We get to see them come adversity and loss. We get to see them come together like as they're strangers as they come in, and they leave as family and have these bonds forever. And then we get to go see them go out in the world, like Jenner said, get to go see them serve missions, go be entrepreneurs, be mothers, be amazing things. And most of it is going to come from their experiences in sports, and that's why we do it. We do it for these kids because we know what it did for us, and we get to see what it does for them every single day and for years to come. So thank you.
Thank you, Shay. It's so funny. I'm not sure who has Skyridge in their district, but you guys can stay up here. But you have to see her nervous is so funny to me because you should see her as a coach. It is so intense. And then last we have Marianne Allen.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to be here, and I appreciate the women who have spoke before me. I'm actually going to change my comments a little bit just so that we're not all repeating ourselves, but I will just say that I echo every single thing that has been said so far. For those who do know me, don't know me, my name is Marianne Biallen. I live up in Heber City, Utah. I was on the Wasatch School Board and then the USBA Board of Directors. So I know some of you from my assignments. It's good to see you. It's good to see you there. I appreciate everything you guys do. And I really appreciate Sarah reaching out to me. The first time I met Sarah was actually at a USBA conference, and we bonded quickly over our love of soccer and sports and athletics for women. So I appreciate this opportunity. I'm going to take a little different approach and just give you some personal experiences as an athlete myself and within my own family. My experience with sports started when I was young. I have a mother who was an amazing runner, but she was born in 1940. She's going to be like, you outed me that way, but she was around before Title IX. And the benefits of this legislation. And she was known in her neighborhood as the girl who could beat all the boys. And in fact, other Salt Lake neighborhoods started sending kids to try and beat her. So those were the stories I grew up with listening to, is she's the fastest kid in all the neighborhoods. But she never had opportunities to take that farther. And so then, I have the experiences of my own siblings and watching them as the youngest growing up, and when soccer was still a new thing in the United States. But I watched those examples, and for myself in high school in Colorado, I played, much like the women before me, I played volleyball, basketball, and soccer. So I was a year-round athlete. I had the privilege of coaches who were from the US, but also coaches from Cameroon, Iceland, Morocco, and experiencing them and their cultures and their interactions that have benefited me still to this day, even as a coach, not just as a player. They care about me as a person on and off the field. I watched friends struggle who were not involved. My high school at the time really struggled with, ironically, teen pregnancy and suicide. And those of us who could participate in sports, I truly believe it made a difference. It changed the outcome of our lives. I know that a lot of statistics have been shared, so I won't share because some of them are similar. But I truly believe that giving girls the opportunity to play sports changes the trajectory of lives. The sports I played are a part of me. The joy, the health, the confidence, the friendships, the empowerment, and the life lessons that I learned are something that are invaluable to me and I carry to this day. It is the reason that I've encouraged my own 3 kids to find a sport that they love and work hard at it. Also, before I was on the school board, I was a teacher in Utah for 6 years, and every year I taught, I coached. Like board member Reels stated, I coached volleyball, basketball, soccer, softball, and then soccer. And there have been a lot of student athletes that I've had the privilege of coaching and seeing them grow as individuals on and off the court. Yes, we had fun. It was great, but also the self-discipline that they learned, the confidence, the self-esteem boost, the empowerment of not just themselves, but then it was reflected and they were able to empower and help others around them. It's inspiring, quite honestly, and I'm still in contact with some of those old students who are now, as been stated, moved on, married, have their own families, and sport is something that we all can come back and have common ground with. Now, when Sarah asked me to do this, I actually reached out to a couple young athletes in my area that I work with. I'm currently coaching a competitive boys team. I've also coached competitive girls teams, but I wanted to reach out and talk to them. And it was interesting because a couple of the girls said it teaches them how they can work through hard things, feel better about themselves, have fun, be active, but also balance things in life. And there was another young lady who said, some people think girls are weak, but in reality, we are so strong. And she's someone who is now taking boxing lessons. I know that's not something we necessarily offer, but it's something about being an athlete that empowers women. And another colleague that I talked to, I feel like said it best. Her name is Ariel Partridge, and I asked for permission to share this. But she was in a conversation with an administrator at one point, and they were pushing back and forth on some decisions being made. And the administrator said, "You're so strong. How did you learn that?" She said, "I looked at him and thought, how do you honestly don't know?" So she said, "Sports. That's how I learned to become strong." She also goes on to say, when it's done right, positive, supportive coaches, sports will unlock confidence the girls never knew they had. When it's done right, sports teach girls how to deal with adversity, success, and failure in a safe space. When it's done right with trained and careful staff, sports teaches them to value the miracle of their bodies, no matter the shape or size, when all the world tells them beauty only fits in one box. When it's done right with supportive administration, school community, and equal budget, sports will show girls that they are equally valuable members of society. So I just want to end with that and say I appreciate all the advancements that Title IX legislation has given us. I look at where my mom was, and myself as a 3-sport athlete, then as a coach of athletes, and even now with a 7-year-old daughter coming up, and the progress that we've made. But I think it's great to also acknowledge that there's still progress to be made. There are still steps to be taken to keep supporting these young ladies in their high school sports. So thank you. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you. And thank you to my guests and for indulging me in my favorite passion and my favorite area of advocacy. And I really hope that what we can take from this is, what are we doing? Are we doing enough? Is it really equal and fair within our schools, the way that we support our girls' sports, and what can we do to encourage girls to play sports? Because we can see clearly there's a huge benefit. So thank you.
Thank you, Member Reel. We are going to go to employee recognition.
Thank you, Chair Hymas. So continuing on with the strong women theme, I was a teenager in the 70s and I love sports, and my opportunities were you can be the Batgirl or in softball, or you can take care of the equipment, or you can help with stats, or all the things, and I wanted to play. So I just love that our girls have so many opportunities now. But we are recognizing another strong woman, and this is Sarah Wiebke. And Sarah, I hope right now, well, let's see, what time is it in New Zealand? She might be sleeping, but I'm hoping that she's had the opportunity. She had this lifetime trip planned, and hopefully she's been hiking under waterfalls and swimming through caves, and she had a whole list of adventurous things that she was excited to do. But we want to honor her today, and I think this is the first time since we've been doing this in many years that somebody from our human resource department has nominated anyone. And so Sarah Humphreys, who's in the audience, nominated Sarah Wiebke for something that I love so much. She nominated her for demonstrating immense growth in leadership abilities. And Sarah's had the opportunity to watch her and work with her in her role as director for the Center for Continuous Improvement, and indicates that she embodies all the qualities of an exemplary leader and employee. And I have known Sarah, of course, since she came to the office as a specialist, and it's been amazing to watch her just really choose challenges, choose to lean in when something big and hard is there, and she does it with such a positive attitude. I'm going to just name a few things. She has continuously gone above and beyond when it comes to being a leader of her team. That includes her creative and unique ways to lead and the unity and transparency she has formed with her team. She exhibits unwavering professionalism in every interaction, ensuring those around her feel respected and safe at work and in her presence. She can always be relied on to follow up, provide critical insights, and maintain a high level of accountability. Sarah goes on to say that one of the most remarkable aspects of Sarah Wiebke's performance is her growth as a leader. She has cultivated a culture of teamwork, collaboration, and respect, and consistently motivates employees to achieve their best. By mentoring, teaching, and training employees, Sarah ensures everyone on the team has the tools and support they need to succeed. She's deeply customer focused, always prioritizing the needs of both internal and external stakeholders. Her individual initiatives have not only solved immediate challenges, but also created long-lasting improvements to USBE. And I love this part. Sarah's technically my customer, says our HR phenom, but I feel like I'm always learning new and unique ways to be a good leader from her that I can pass on to others. So Sarah she wrote such a beautiful tribute to Sarah that I won't continue to read, but Sarah is really known throughout her agency for being positive, solution-oriented. I can still remember the place she was standing when we got the full-day kindergarten bill passed, and just how elated she was, because she had worked so very hard to make that happen. And it was a new experience for her to be on the Hill and working with our legislators and other stakeholders, and we had the full support of the board. And so we made her our point person to go up, and she loved the process of policy making. She loved being on the Hill, and it was just such a joy to watch her in that moment when there was a unanimous vote for that bill. So Sarah's been a phenomenal leader, and as I'll just end where I started with, she chooses challenges. She chooses to lean in. She chooses to collaborate with everyone, and she's a strong leader. I'm so thrilled for her that she's in New Zealand living her dream, but even more thrilled that we get to work with her every day, because she is just a delight and a lovely human being and an adventurer, and has done some really hard things and faced really hard challenges in her life, but she is so positive, and we're honored to have her as our Employee of the Month. So congratulations to Sarah Wiebke.
Thank you, Superintendent. On to our education highlight.
Thank you, Chair. Kelsey James, Board Communications Coordinator. I'm going to welcome up Milo Mon. Hopefully I said your last name right. Secondary Science Specialist here at USBE. He's going to share some information. I just want to highlight for you all, you received this invite by your chair this morning. It is an invitation to the award ceremony for the Presidential Awards in Excellence in Science and Math Teaching, or PAMST, as we affectionately call it. And so keep that date in mind. We'll have with board leadership's approval, we'll have a hard stop for the May board meeting so that you can all attend that. And we'll learn more about that here. So I'll hand it over to Milo.
Yes, thank you, Kelsey. Yeah, so exciting thing with PAMPS, the 2021 through 2023 awardees was announced back in January, and so we were just wanting to highlight that. A little bit of background about what PAMPS is. PAMPS is an acronym that stands for the Presidential Awards for Excellence in Mathematics and Science Teaching. So this is an award that's administered by the White House, and it is the highest award in the land, so to speak, that it highlights STEM teachers, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics teachers in the U.S. And it's, like I said, the highest award that comes through the White House from the U.S. government. And so awardees receive a $10,000 award from the National Science Foundation, a certificate from the President of the United States, a trip to Washington for an award ceremony, professional development activities, and discussions on how to improve STEM education across the United States. And they also join a cohort of currently 5,200 other award-winning teachers from across the nation that's there. The process to be selected as a PAMPS awardee is quite intensive. So first it starts out with an application. Either the nominee can nominate themselves and start the application process, or they can be nominated by someone else. And both me and the science specialist and the math specialist try to work with our people to try to get really high quality applicants to these for this program. The application is fairly in-depth application that they have to fill out and do. It includes a 30-minute video of them teaching in the classroom, which then gets picked apart by the review committee, but also by the teacher themselves. They have to then submit what the PAMPS refers to as the 5 dimensions of outstanding teaching, and highlight how does their teaching illustrate those 5 dimensions that's there. They have to collect letters of recommendation, have a resume, a lesson plan, reference materials. So it's quite an intensive application process. And then that application goes through a state review. And currently for the 2025 cycle, the math and science teams are reviewing those applications for the 2025 review process. And we'll choose 3 math finalists and 3 science finalists as our state finalists. And that's what the banquet is for that Kelsey mentioned earlier, is where we'll recognize our 3 finalists in math and 3 finalists in science for the PAMPS awardee, as the finalists for the state. And then the state finalists are then sent up to the national level, which they then go through another review process at the national level. And then they'll select the finalists for each state for each year, and then at the White House's decision, they will go ahead and announce the awardees for each of those given years. And so in January, they went ahead and announced 2021, 2022, and the 2023 awardees. They're all at the same time. And so they were trying to catch up on things. And so we want to recognize those people today, and we have them here in the audience, so we'll have them come forward in a second here. But we do have a nice banner that we'll be giving to them, recognizing them, that they can then take to their classroom and have in their school to recognize them as the PAMPS awardee, or not a finalist. Sorry, they are the awardee. Finalist and awardee, that's slightly different things, but they are the finalists for their state. So we have that banner for them. So first up, wrong direction. The 2021 finalists are Todd Vaudry was for mathematics and Matthew Woolley for science. If both of you could come up, and we'd like to invite you to share with us for a second. So we'll have Matt and Todd share with you what this award means to them and potentially their students as well. So, do you want to go first? Go for it.
Sure. Okay, so you may notice it's an old picture. They wouldn't take one with a hat, and I just always wear a hat. So I had to use my 2008 photo when I submitted it, so it's been a while. But that was actually me. I want to say I'm honored to be recognized here. this really is the highest award for a math teacher. I know I have pursued this for years and years and years. Some people in the room may know that I used to be in the testing and accountability department here at USBE, and I actually went back to the classroom partially to work on this award because I had to be a classroom teacher. It's a lot of work and apparently a lot of patience. I was the 2001 awardee, and it's been 4 extra years. There's some math skills for you. But it's just such an honor to be recognized as kind of like the math teacher of the year for 2001. And I thank you for bringing me in here to be recognized. And by the way, Mr. Woolley doesn't know this, but he taught 2 of my sisters, and they wanted to know that he was an excellent teacher.
I think we've done some professional development or something together too as well. Yeah, I would just say that it's incredibly humbling to be named as this. I think it says a lot about a little bit about me, but it says a lot about the mentors that I've had throughout my career. It says a lot about my wife, who's sitting back here, who is patient and watches me stay up late grading papers or write lessons or bounce ideas off of her. It says a lot about my parents, who were both educators and taught me about the value of public education. And it says a lot about the two of the things that I'm really passionate about, which is helping kids and teaching science. I love science. I think it's a valuable, an essential part of our society, and I love watching my kids, my students learn about it. I think it says a lot about all the different professional opportunities, professional development opportunities that I've had a chance to participate in. And it's motivating for me to just continue getting better and learning new things and trying new things and make sure that my career is not stagnant. And then I think it says a lot about my students. I teach some of the best students. They're incredible. Board member Davis says I taught her son last year, and he was awesome. And I just have amazing students that make my job a lot of fun and make me continually want to try and do the best I can for them. So anyway, thanks for letting me be here.
All right. So now for the 2022 finalists, we have Stacy Stoker in mathematics and Ashley Hare in science. Come on up.
Hi, guys. I'm Ashley Hare. The PAMPS Award is an incredibly significant honor. It is very humbling to have been nominated in the first place and now even recognized alongside many other innovative and dedicated science educators. This prestigious award is a recognition of my love of educating through fostering curiosity and critical thinking and inspiring students to pursue their STEM fields. I'm honored to be the PAMPS Science recipient for 2022. I'm grateful to other educators who have helped me learn and grow as a student and as an educator, to the science coaching team in Salt Lake City School District, to my students from Edison Elementary and Ivy Academy that made teaching science so much fun, and to God for giving me the gift of teaching these brilliant minds. As of May, I stepped away from teaching formally as I became a mom to a sweet baby boy. You guys might have heard him. As I enter a new stage of life, I am grateful for the opportunity to see him grow and to teach him about the wonders of this incredible world. Education, specifically in science, will always be a passion and a love of mine, and I'm excited to see where it takes me in the years to come. Thank you.
I'm glad she had some notes too, because I had to write down notes. I'm kind of nervous. I don't know why I'm emotional. It's just getting up in front of you, I think. The PAMPS Award really provided me with a chance to reflect on my teaching practices and to really look closely at the strategies I use in my classroom and the impact that has on my students, and to gauge their understanding. And it was an intensive process, but it was really a growing experience. I learned a lot by going through that.
For me, teaching math isn't all about numbers and equations, but it's a chance to help students feel empowered as learners, sorry, and to be able to see themselves as capable of doing hard things, because math kind of has a stigma that goes with it, that math is hard, or girls can't do math, or different things. And so I think it's really a blessing to be able to teach students that they are capable of that. And it represents the support of my family and colleagues and mentors and my students, who have all helped shape me to be the educator that I am, and to inspire me to keep working hard, because education isn't done in isolation. We rely on that support system that's all around us. So it really is a reflection of that, and it's both humbling and inspiring to be named the awardee, and it motivates me to keep learning and growing and to continue to strive to do my best every day for my students. Thank you.
And last but not least, with the 2023 Utah PAMPS awardees for mathematics is Melissa Brown, and for science is Wesley Morgan. Come on up.
Thank you so much for inviting me. When I was nominated, honestly, I was quite surprised but more humbled, because my past principal that nominated me, I have nothing but admiration and respect for her. So I'm also unable to say no to her. So after looking at the requirements of what I had to do, I called her on the phone and I said, couldn't you have just nominated me for an award where at least you have to do all the work, or that was easier to do? And she laughed. But truly, this award to me is a reflection of just the support that I've had from really great mentors to the people that I have the just privilege to work with on a daily basis. My principal, who's here, deserves an award for putting up with me on a daily basis. I have a wonderful team that lets me try crazy things with my students and their students, and I greatly appreciate that. My sister, who's been an educator in the state for more than 30 years, jokes that she is in my shadow, and I would just honestly like to give this award to her, because without her, I would not be where I am today. She taught me everything I know, and if you really want to see a good science teacher at the high school, go visit Bingham High. I asked her to come down with me today, and she said she couldn't leave her students, so she wouldn't be here. But I just am truly humbled and grateful for this award, and I thank you for your time.
I'd like to quickly tell you about two experiences I've had since being nominated for this award that have showed me the power of my teaching. I'm currently working on a master's at BYU of educational leadership. I've actually been assigned to be an assistant principal at an elementary school next year. And one of my first projects was to interview teachers around my school to learn about the culture of our school and how it's changed over the years. And what surprised me most, and what meant so much to me, is how many teachers mentioned other teachers, specific veteran teachers who'd been there for years, and they talked about how those teachers, and a lot of them said the same names over and over again, those teachers had elevated the standards for our entire school. And that meant so much to me, as I know I'm one of the harder teachers, and I sometimes wonder if I'm pushing my students too hard and if what I'm doing has an impact outside my classroom. And hearing so many teachers here, that idea that the rigor that those teachers have really does elevate the standards of the entire school. As long as we have an administration, which we do, as you can tell by the fact that they're here, that supports those good teachers. It was great to know that even one individual teacher can have an impact outside their classroom. The other amazing opportunity I've had this year, we're offering a bilingual physics class for a bunch of recent immigrants who have come to our school. And as you know, those kids are probably never going to be placed in a physics class unless they have an opportunity like this. And it has been great to see them do all the same activities and achieve just as much. And I hope that you will continue to recognize the teachers who are willing to teach every student, no matter what they look like, no matter what they speak like, because that's what the best teachers do. Thank you.
Yes, so if you know a teacher that you want to nominate, you can do so on the PAMPS website. So if you go to their their website, paints.nsf.gov. There's a spot to nominate them. If you notice, there was a kind of an elementary, secondary switching back and forth. So this cycle, the 2025 cycle, focuses on secondary teachers. The 2026 cycle will focus on elementary, and the 2027 will focus again on secondary. And you can nominate for either the 2026 for elementary or the secondary one in 2027 right now on the website there. So, any questions or comments?
Do you have I'm sorry, we're going to go to Superintendent Dixon.
Yeah, I have been in many classrooms of our PAIMS teachers, and I'm telling you, they are the creme de la creme. It's so amazing to watch the strategies that they use. And just for the good of the board, we often call on these very teachers to help us with professional learning efforts in our state. So they're influencing thousands of kids and thousands of teachers by their work. So we're really excited to honor them. But I would also like to honor our STEM team, who they're the ones that elevate these voices and really try to support our teachers. So Nate is in the house. Nate, will you have your STEM team stand? I feel like we've got the best STEM team in the country, so I just wanted to acknowledge them. But thank you, Milo, for bringing our PAIMS teachers forward. I know it's awkward because they get these awards and then there's like this delay, but I just feel like we should honor them every day because they're amazing what they do. So thank you.
Thank you. We have a comment from Member Bollinger and then Member Davis.
Thank you, Chair. And thank you for the work in helping highlight. As we heard from all of these teachers that are getting awards, it's really not about them, it's about their students, and that is really what makes them great. I just want to take a moment and maybe embarrass Melissa just a little bit. She's actually in my area in District 9, and I've had a personal opportunity to be in her classroom, not just to see the impact she has on students' lives, but also on the professional learning, as Superintendent Dixon alluded to, of other teachers, not just in her school, but across the district she works in. And so just appreciate the ability to highlight the great work that these teachers are doing, and thank you for being a part of that.
Thank you. Member Davis.
Thank you. I just want to note Mr. Willie said that he taught my son last year, and I want the public to know we have no influence over these awards. Like, we have no say. It was such a happy surprise when I walked in and saw him in our great school and district administration. And I want all of you to know that my son calls every teacher Mr. or Miss or Mrs. or Ms. or whatever, but he only ever and always referred to Professor Woolley as Professor Woolley. And every time to this day he mentions something he learned in science class, he says, "Oh, Professor Woolley taught us that." And I think it's just delightful. It's probably upwards of 20, 30 times in our house you've been referred to as Professor Woolley. So Professor Woolley, and to all of you, congratulations and thanks for all the good things you do for our kids, mine and all the kids in the state of Utah.
Thank you, Milo. PAIMS awardees, if you will please, we have